Anna, where is my report? I'm waiting for it until 7. Dennis shouted into the phone and hung up, lying in bed with my mother. Her fingers stroked his chest, and her lost bracelet shone on the nightstand. I whispered, it's impossible, or is it possible? I don't know how I got through that day at the office. The image from the camera, Dennis and my mom, tangled in our bed, burned behind my eyes like a brand. I walked into our apartment that evening, forcing myself to breathe normally, though every nerve screamed. Dennis lounged on the couch, scrolling through his phone, looking so ordinary it almost made me doubt what I'd seen. Sent the report? He asked, not glancing up. Yeah, I muttered, dropping my bag. My eyes darted to the armchair. There it was, the blue scarf with embroidered patterns, the one Dennis gave me for our 2nd anniversary. I thought I'd lost it, but Mom had said she lost hers too. Now it lay there, mocking me. I forced my voice to stay steady. Seen Mom today? I asked casually. He shrugged. Nah, she's probably busy. His tone was calm, but I caught the way his fingers tightened around his phone. That night, I lay beside him, his breathing steady, while my mind raced. When had things gone wrong? Mom, Alina, started visiting us often about 8 months ago. She'd bring homemade food, lasagna, apple pie, and say, I just want to be closer to you. I was glad. Since Dad died 5 years ago, she rarely smiled, and her visits felt like a sign she was coming back to life. But now I remembered how she'd show up when I was at work, and Dennis was home. He works remotely, she'd say. I thought he might be bored. I thought it was care. I was grateful she supported Dennis, calling him a great guy. But why did she stay so late? Why did she laugh at his dumb jokes? And why hadn't I noticed her hand lingering on his arm during dinners? Dennis had changed too. He used to tease that Mom meddled too much, but lately, he'd been praising her. Alina looks younger than 50, he said one night over wine. I'd laughed it off, well, she's my mom. But now those words felt like a blade. The next day, I sat at my desk in the ad agency, my mind far from deadlines. I opened my phone's gallery, scrolling through photos, family gatherings, holidays, a summer picnic. Mom and Dennis were often side by side, laughing over something trivial. Why hadn't I seen how she adjusted his collar? How he poured her lemonade first? That evening, we went to Mom's for dinner. She greeted us with a wide smile, hugging Dennis a beat too long. I watched, hiding the tremor in my hands. At the table, she chatted about her new yoga group, but I noticed the blue scarf around her neck. Nice scarf, I said, stirring my soup. Thanks, Anna, she replied, touching it. Dennis told me where to get one. I glanced at him. He sipped his wine calmly, but I saw his fingers grip the glass tighter. I smiled, but inside, I thought, they think I'm blind. After that dinner, I turned into a hawk. Every move Dennis made, every word Mom spoke, I analyzed it like evidence in a crime scene. I felt unhinged, but I couldn't stop. The camera image, their embrace, Mom's bracelet on the nightstand, haunted me. Dennis started hiding his phone. He used to leave it everywhere, kitchen counter, couch, but now, when a message pinged, he snatched it up and looked away. One evening, I walked in while he was texting, and he quickly darkened the screen. Work, he mumbled, though it was Saturday night. Something urgent? I asked, sitting beside him. Just a client, he said, standing abruptly and heading to the kitchen. I watched him go, unease mixing with anger. Was I imagining things? Was it just wedding stress? But the camera didn't lie. Mom was acting off too. I called to ask if she wanted to grab lunch, but she dodged. Oh, I'm swamped, honey. She used to tell me everything, new dresses, neighbors' gossip, but now her answers were vague. I checked her Instagram. A new post, her at Bean and Brew Cafe, smiling over a latte. I recognized it, Dennis went there for work. I opened his profile. 2 weeks ago, a photo from the same cafe, captioned, productive day. My hand shook. Coincidence? Maybe. But he'd said he was on a business trip that day. While he showered, I checked his laptop calendar. No trips. Just one entry, meeting, B&B, 2 p.m. My heart pounded like a drum. I closed the laptop and returned to the couch, pretending to read. But my thoughts roared, they're lying. Both of them. That night, I fake-watched a show, ears straining as Dennis talked on the phone in the bedroom. His voice was low, but I caught it. No, she doesn't know. She won't. She's too trusting. Trusting hit like a slap. Trusting? Me, who'd planned our wedding? Me, who saw Mom as my rock? I gripped the remote until it creaked. Anger hardened into resolve. I needed proof, not guesses, but facts that would bury them. I decided to be methodical. Confronting them outright would get me nowhere, they'd deny everything, and I'd look like a fool. I needed undeniable proof. I started with the security camera in our living room, installed after a neighbor's break-in. Dennis rarely checked it, but I had the password. I told him I'd be late at work for a deadline and left my laptop on, connected to the camera. "Don't wait up," I said, watching his face. He nodded, but I caught a glint in his eyes, anticipation. When I reviewed the footage that night, my stomach dropped. At 3:23 p.m., the door opened, and Mom walked in, holding a grocery bag. Instead of heading to the kitchen, she hugged Dennis, long, too long. I fast-forwarded. They sat on the couch, laughing, then moved to the bedroom. I stopped the video, my hands shaking, but saved it. I called my friend Claudia, who worked near Bean and Brew. "Can you keep an eye out for regulars there?" I asked, keeping it vague. She agreed. 2 days later, she sent a photo, Mom and Dennis at a table, hands entwined, not just sipping coffee. Mom smiled, Dennis leaned in, whispering. Anger surged, but I needed more. That evening, I was cleaning the kitchen when I saw something in the trash under the sink, a condom wrapper. Dennis and I didn't use them, I was on the pill. I held it, my vision blurring, then tucked it into an envelope. It was real. Their betrayal was real. I decided to test Mom, to see if she'd lie to my face. I invited her for coffee at our favorite spot, saying I missed our talks. She showed up, smiling, wearing that blue scarf, the symbol of their deceit. "How's it going, Mom?" I asked, stirring my latte. "Great, honey," she said, but her eyes darted away. I remembered how she always caught my childhood lies, sneaking cookies, skipping homework. Did she think I couldn't see hers? I eased in. "Dennis seems off lately," I said, watching her. "Noticed anything?" She laughed, a little too sharply. "He's just busy, dear. You know how he is." Her fingers trembled as she lifted her cup. She was lying. We chatted for 10 more minutes, but she kept dodging, talking about weather, her hairdresser, anything but Dennis. I nodded, smiled, but inside I screamed, "You betrayed me." At home, Dennis was all charm. He hugged me and said, "What if we move the wedding to summer?" "I don't want to wait." Nausea hit me. A wedding? After what I'd seen? "Maybe," I said, turning away so he wouldn't see my eyes. But I couldn't hold back. "Why do you talk to Mom so much?" I asked, keeping my tone light. He froze. "What do you mean?" His voice sharpened. "Just, she calls a lot." "Text you." He shrugged. "She's just looking out for us." "You know her." I looked away, biting my lip. Looking out? She was tearing my life apart. That night, I lay awake, his breathing steady beside me, thinking, "You both betrayed me. But I won't be the victim." The next day, I saw them outside our building, hugging, not kissing, but too close for a future mother-in-law and son-in-law. I stood around the corner, clutching my phone, and knew, I had to act. I had to know the truth. I decided to set a trap, to catch them off guard. Confronting them directly would lead to denials, leaving me as the crazy fiancé imagining things. I needed proof that would shatter their lies like glass. I told Dennis I was going away for the weekend to visit a friend. "I need a break," I said, watching his reaction. He nodded, smiling, but I saw his eyes light up, like he'd been waiting for this. "Good idea," he said, his voice too eager. I didn't go. Instead, I booked a cheap hotel a few blocks away and logged into the security camera from my phone. Saturday afternoon, the door opened, and Mom walked in, holding a bottle of wine, like she was just visiting. Dennis greeted her, and they hugged, not a guest's hug, but something practiced, intimate. I turned on the audio recording. Their voices were soft, but clear enough. "You sure she's gone?" Mom asked, her tone cautious. Yeah, I saw her get in the taxi, Dennis replied, confident. They laughed, and my nails dug into my palms. I skipped ahead. They sat on the couch, wine glasses in hand, fingers brushing. Then Mom said, "We need to hurry. The wedding's coming up fast." My heart clenched. The wedding? They were planning to hide this until I was married? I gripped the phone until my knuckles whitened. Then came the worst. "If she finds out," Mom said, her voice dropping, "I know how to convince her. She's always trusted me." I stopped the recording. That was enough. They weren't just cheating, they were scheming to fool me forever. Mom, who taught me honesty, who held me when I cried over my first heartbreak. Dennis, who promised forever. They mocked my trust like I was a pawn in their game. I sat in the dim hotel room, staring at the blank phone screen. My eyes stung, but I didn't cry. Something shifted, anger turned cold, sharp. I knew I wouldn't stop until they paid. Back at the hotel, I spread out my evidence like a detective. The camera footage of Mom and Dennis laughing on our couch. Kadia's photo, their hands locked in the cafe. Screenshots of their texts, grabbed when Dennis left his phone unlocked. "When are you free again?" from Mom, with that infuriating winking emoji. The condom wrapper, hidden in an envelope. It all lay before me, a puzzle finally complete. I thought back to Mom's constant support for Dennis. "He's perfect for you," she said after our first year. "Don't let him go." I thought she was happy for me, but now I saw it, she wasn't just cheering, she wanted him closer. Her compliments, her laughter, her care, all part of a plan. I opened old photos. Mom at our gatherings, our picnic, helping with our apartment reno. She was always there, but I missed how her eyes lingered on Dennis. How she adjusted his scarf last winter. How he smiled back, not a son-in-law smile. I remembered Mom saying she felt lonely after Dad's death. I tried to be there, calling, visiting, listening to her stories. She brushed it off, "Don't worry, I'm fine." Was this her fine? Betraying her daughter? Using my trust to steal my life? Dennis played his part too. I recalled how he pushed for marriage, gave me flowers, promised a future. But now I saw how he dodged wedding talk, snapped when I asked for details. "We've got time," he'd say, and I believed him. I believed he loved me. I believed his hugs after fights. All lies. I cried on that cold hotel bed, tears streaming down my cheeks. I let myself feel the pain, the betrayal, the shame of being so blind. Then I stood, walked to the mirror, and looked at myself. My eyes were red, but they burned. "No more victim," I said aloud. I opened my laptop and started planning. Not a tantrum, not tears, I wanted them to feel what I felt. I cataloged everything, footage, photos, texts, even the wrapper. Each piece was a nail in their coffin. I didn't know how I'd use it, but I knew they wouldn't walk away unscathed. The next few days, I played the part perfectly. I smiled at Dennis, made him coffee, listened to his work stories. But inside, I was ice. Every touch, every word fueled my resolve. I knew he was lying, and soon he'd pay. I called his friend Max, who met Dennis for beers weekly. "How's Dennis doing?" I asked casually. "He's been off." Max chuckled. "He's always on about your mom. Says she's cool." I teased he's got a crush. I gripped the phone but laughed. "Really? He's such a joker." Max didn't know his words were another piece of the puzzle. I gathered everything. Footage of Mom and Dennis in our apartment. Screenshots of their texts. Kadia's cafe photo. The condom wrapper in its envelope. Even a receipt from Bean and Brew I found in his jacket, dated for a business trip he never took. I planned every detail. A fight or tears would only amuse them, they'd deny it, and I'd be left broken. I needed a blow they couldn't dodge. I wanted them to feel the shame I felt seeing them in our bed. I called Mom. "Let's have a family dinner," I said warmly. "Invite friends, like old times." She sounded surprised but agreed. "Great idea, Anna," she said, her voice tinged with tension. I booked a restaurant, invited Kadia, Max, a few others. This wouldn't just be dinner, it would be the moment I took my life back. I spent hours preparing a presentation, silly as it sounds, a slideshow for betrayal. I loaded the footage, photos, texts onto a USB drive. I checked the restaurant's projector. I barely slept, picturing their faces when the truth hit. Each time I wavered, I heard Mom's voice, "She's always trusted me." And I pressed on. The dinner was Saturday. The restaurant buzzed with chatter, smelling of fresh bread and wine. I sat between Dennis and Mom, smiling like it was the best night ever. Claudia talked about her job, Max joked about soccer. Mom laughed, Dennis nodded, picture perfect. But I knew this was their last calm moment. "To what do we drink?" Max asked, raising his glass. "To family," I said, looking at Mom. She nodded, but her smile was strained, like she sensed a trap. We ate, chatted, laughed. I waited for my moment. It came with dessert, Mom's favorite tiramisu. I stood, holding my phone, and walked to the projector I'd arranged. "Friends," I said, my voice steady as a frozen lake, "I want to share something special." Dennis leaned toward me. "Anna, what are you doing?" he hissed. I ignored him. I plugged in the USB, and the screen lit up, camera footage of Mom and Dennis on our couch, hugging, laughing. Then screenshots, "When are you free again?" from Mom, with that winking emoji. The cafe photo, their hands locked. The room went silent, forks frozen midair. Mom gasped, "Anna, it's not what you think." Her voice shook, but I saw panic, not remorse. Dennis grabbed my arm. "Stop, please," he begged, but I pulled free. I played the audio. Their voices filled the room, "She doesn't know. She's trusting." Claudia gasped, hand over her mouth. Max looked away, face red. Mom sobbed, but I knew, those were tears of shame for getting caught. "I deserve better," I said, staring at them. My voice held, though I trembled inside. "You thought I was blind. I saw everything." I faced the guests. "Thanks for coming. But I don't want these people in my life anymore." I dropped the USB on the table and walked out, leaving them in silence. Mom's sobs and Dennis's whispers faded behind me. Each step made me stronger. The next week, I packed my things and moved to a new apartment, small, but mine. I changed my locks, my number, blocked Dennis and Mom everywhere. Dennis tried calling from random numbers, sent texts, "Anna, let's talk, it's a mistake." I deleted them unread. Mom mailed a letter, paper, like some old novel. "You misunderstood," she wrote. I tore it up halfway through. I stood before my new bedroom mirror. My face was tired, but my eyes blazed. "I took myself back," I said aloud. I wasn't the Anna who believed their lies. I was new, strong, free. I threw myself into work with fresh energy. My boss noticed and offered me a lead role in a big campaign. I said yes, feeling control return. Evenings, I walked the city, music in my ears, smiling at strangers. I was me, and that was enough. A month later, Claudia said Mom had moved away. "She can't face anyone," she said. Dennis lost friends, Max and others cut him off. His career wobbled, clients don't trust liars. I didn't gloat. I didn't wish them harm, I just didn't think about them. They were the past, I was moving forward. I signed up for a photography course I'd always wanted. Bought a new couch, not because the old one was bad, but because I wanted a clean slate. Each time I looked in the mirror, I saw not a victim, but a woman who'd won her fight.